Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are back with another kind of body painting 101. Coming at you all natural because I figured why not? No, actually I did paint earlier today, so I just wanted to I didn't want to put a bunch of makeup on to just come do another video. So we're just gonna hang out and chit chat, and I'm gonna teach you the most basic step to body painting. I know it seems so simple. I was gonna say so super simple, but that's a really hard thing to say. I know it sounds simple, but applying body paint the right way is actually a huge thing that I had to kind of learn, and I really wanted to teach you the kind of tips and tricks I found to best apply your body paint and have it look good and not be too messy and be the right consistency that you want it to be. So we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. I'm gonna show you 3 different scenarios, okay? So I'm gonna kind of just paint little squares, and I'm gonna show you using too much water, the right amount of water, not enough water. Because these are water activated paints, and I know a lot of people, including myself, tended to make them way too wet when I first started, and then it doesn't work if it's too dry. So I just want to show you the best way I found for getting the right consistency with body painting. We're going to be using a dark blue today, and the first thing I did when I body painted was I had my little body paint right here, right? And I have my brush, and it's so funny because I don't even keep a cup of water near me anymore. But when I first started, I just used a cup of water, and I would just dip my brush in the water. So you can see my brush is nice and wet. And then I would just swirl it into the body paint. And as you can see, it is really, really, really wet. And I thought that was the way you were supposed to do it, like you would a painting, right? And I know a lot of people who still do this, and I'm begging you, please don't. But so we're gonna just kind of do a little streak here. And something we're gonna notice is it is very, very patchy. You can see right here, it's a lot lighter than right here. It's a little bit lighter, darker, lighter, darker. It's very inconsistent. It's very sheer as well. So we're just gonna continue like we're just painting on some clothing. And as you can see, what's happening is it's picking up the paint underneath it, okay? So you see right here how there's this issue happening because this brush is so wet. Even though it's not dripping wet, it's too wet. So you're getting this really weird kind of streaky thing. So anytime you put your brush down, it starts to pick up the paint underneath it. And then you have these weird moments where it kind of drags it. You're never gonna get a consistent just block of paint, okay? If your brush is too wet, this is what's gonna happen. Okay, I'm gonna square this off so it looks aesthetically pleasing. But here you go. This is our application with too much water. So this is why I say no to your cup. Everyone say goodbye cup, okay? We're not doing cup of water here. And we're gonna move on to what I think is the best way to approach body painting. Okay, so I tried to get rid of as much as I possibly could. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that same brush. We're gonna just use the same brush for this whole thing. And what I'm gonna do is I'm basically just taking a micro fiber towel that I use, and I'm just gonna kind of dry the brush off, okay? So we're not dealing with a super wet brush. And I'm gonna show you my favorite way to activate body paint and to apply it. So you have your body paint and a spray bottle. Okay, we're not wetting the brush at all. The brush does not touch water. So here we go. I just like to go 1, 2. That is it. Okay, this is the consistency you want in your paint. You can see that it is visibly wet, but it is not dripping. There is not water pouring out of this at all. It's just nice and wet, but not too much. And you're gonna take your brush and just swirl it in. And you're wanting to basically create a paste, okay? I will show you what the brush looks like up close, but you just wanna really lather your brush up. And you want there to be enough liquid that you're able to move your brush around. It's not sticking at all, it's not dragging. You want it to have a good creamy consistency. And this is what your brush is gonna look like. Do you see how everything is loaded up on the brush, but there is nothing dripping, okay? There is nothing coming off of this brush. I'm even flinging it around and there's no paint coming off of this brush, okay? And now what you're gonna do is we're gonna do our first little swipe. Okay, so you can see already a complete difference in the color alone. This is very watered down. This is almost gray looking. And then you have your just straight blue paint. And when you go over it, I'm gonna go over the same line. See, I'm going over just like we did the other one, and it is not budging. It is not making this lift up at all. It is not making it sheer. It's not doing anything to disrupt the paint. I am able to go around and just start working with it, and it's not disrupting the paint in any way, shape, or form because there is enough paint on it and it's not just a brush full of water. So all that you needed with this is just literally your paint and 2 spritzes of water, and that's it. And you're gonna get this nice kind of thicker consistency. It's not so thick that you can't work with it, but it's not so watery that it's not usable, okay? So this is too much water. This is the perfect right amount of water, okay? I'm gonna show you what happens when it's a little bit too dry, because that can happen as well. And I will say there are techniques where you can use, it's called dry brushing, where you can use it in a little bit more of a dry consistency and you can like shade with it and it looks really nice, but it's not necessarily ideal when you're trying to create a base. This is all about basically just base body painting. You know, a lot of people like to paint characters and paint clothing, or if you want to like paint your face a specific color for some reason, this is kind of the best method to get the best application in regards to your color. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to just basically like hold this and wait, let me get a little closer. Okay. So, as you can see there, you can see the little drops of water. It is still wet, okay? It's not like it's completely dry, but I'm going to swirl it around, and what's happening is it's kind of catching, okay? It's not as smooth as the last time. It's a little bit kind of stiffer. You'll know when you have the right consistency because it just, think of icing, okay? Think of when you're icing a cake and you know when you have the right amount of icing and it just glides over it. That's exactly what this is kind of like. So this unfortunately is a little bit too dry because now look at the paint. Look at the paint right here and the fact that it's already dry. Okay, that right there is not wet paint. So that's when you don't have the right consistency. And I will say it will apply better than this, but it's just gonna be a little bit more kind of like draggy, and you're not gonna get as opaque of a coverage. So we're just gonna do this. And as you can see already, when this is too dry, one, you have line marks happening right here, and then you have it shearing out at the bottom, okay? This is paint that's too dry. You don't have enough water. And as you can see, there's just these line marks. And if you start going over it, it gets a little bit better, but you're also starting to deal with streaking and you're running out of paint. So if you can see here, right here, it's very, very opaque. Here you have a lot of line marks, you have a lot of streaking. Here, there's not enough color. So I wanted to show you what using the right technique and the right amount of water does for your body painting. I promise you it's gonna help you if you're having issues. So again, stop dipping your brushes in water. I don't mean to be like aggressive about it, but this is what you're gonna end up getting, is you're gonna get a body paint that's really watered down. When you start layering colors over it, it's not gonna work out, it's not gonna blend. I will actually, let's do a little blending test, okay? Okay, I'm just gonna get a little bit of white paint, I'm just gonna get a little bit of white paint, and I'm just gonna get some on a little fluffy kind of brush here, and we're going to blend a little bit of a highlight, okay? Let's just see, I'm gonna show you what this will end up looking like. So we have this one, right? We're gonna be blending. I'm just gonna put some color over it. Okay, so there's one. There's two. I'm just kind of putting a highlight over it so we can get an example. Okay, So you can see here when you start applying colors over it, you have a huge distinction. You also have some paint coming off right here. I don't know how well you can see that, but when I'm looking at it, there is this chunk of paint right here that has been removed. So this is more so my skin tone. Then you have this weird kind of effect happening at the edges because they're kind of mixing, but they're at different like thicknesses. So it's creating like a weird line here, and the coloring just looks really terrible. If I was gonna take my finger and try to like blend those together, this one starts to just immediately go away, okay? With this one, if I take my finger and I start blending them, you saw I did not cut it, I did not do anything. This is starting to blend because these are very similar textures, so I'm able to move this around without it immediately coming off. And then this one's a little bit closer to the middle, but you have so much streakiness that it ends up looking a little bit weird. I just want to show you what it's like to apply paint on top of paint that's not done well. You're going to have issues here where it's very sheer. You're going to have inconsistency in texture and like the way that it looks. This one, you're going to have the best luck putting colors over it and having it look smooth and blended. This one is not as bad as this one, but again, you have so many line marks that you can tell that you used a brush to paint it. So as simple as it is to be like, this is how you apply body paint, this is truly the base of what you're going to be able to do going forward, and why it's so important to start out with an even opaque base. And the best way you're going to get that is by taking your paint, spraying it literally 2 times, and then getting that nice kind of thick consistency. It's not dry, it's really smooth and easy to work with. I hope that I made sense in this video. I tried my best to kind of like navigate my thoughts in how I think it's best to apply it. But if you have any questions or anything, make sure to leave them down below. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. I really appreciate it. If you did like the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye-bye.